did this guy see? The men in black are real? Are they real? Was that them? This has got to be one of the craziest like alien stories I have ever heard. Like what? Like what? Like what? You have to watch it. You watch it? Let me know what you think in the comments, please.
Let me tell you my experience with the men in black down in Joshua Tree. And I know I've told parts of this story before, but we're going to give you the full picture here. So a couple years ago, my lady and I and a couple of our friends, we got an Airbnb out in Joshua Tree. It was the first night that we were there, actually. We were all chilling outside underneath the full moon, smoking a little bit of buzz, drinking a little bit of bourbon, just out there having a good time, absorbing the moon rays, you know what I'm saying? When out of nowhere, our friend Alexis, she notices on a ridgeline this light. So we all draw our attention that way. I remember it was a reddish orange light. So as we were looking at this light on the mountain, it literally blows up. So we're all like, what the fuck? Because it wasn't a normal explosion. It like literally blew all the trees from miles away. And this mountain was about a good 20 to 30 miles away. So we're like glued to the mountain at this point. We're looking at this. And out of the mouth of the explosion, like you could see, the explosion happened like at the midpoint of the mountain. And out of that midpoint where the hole was, 3 more glowing reddish orange beings came out of that area. It was almost as if they came from within the mountain and they blew up the mountain to get out. So these beings start to traverse the mountain, and they're doing so within milliseconds. Like it literally looks like they're hopping from mountain peak to mountain peak, and they're doing it with one jump. So like these mountain ranges are fucking mountain ranges. You got to consider how large a mountain range is and how large these beings were. I mean, from our perspective, they were tall as shit. And you got to consider how far 30 miles, 25 to 30 miles is. So the actual size of these beings were large. It had to be at least 20 feet tall or something like that. As this is all going down, we're looking at an area and we notice in the sky a constellation. I'm telling you, a constellation of stars that were there the entire night because we were staring at that area because something else happened there that we thought was mysterious earlier. We're staring at these stars and they literally leave their position in the sky and they come down onto the mountain and they start to shoot. It sounds like crazy, but they started to shoot like laser beams, like almost like a Star Wars blaster gun at the red beings. And they went on a battle for the next like 10 hours straight. I know what you're thinking. This sounds crazy. And it was. We literally thought the world was coming to an end because of the things that we were seeing. I mean, before our eyes, a literal enemy battle was happening. And I really mean an enemy battle. They were throwing hands at each other at some point. And and you could see it. I don't know why we could see it from this distance, but you could see them hitting each other. And with every hit, there was an impact that shot like a shockwave of freaking energy that came this way, blowing all the trees down. The trees in our front yard almost blew down, and they're palm trees. Palm trees are very strong, meant to resist wind. You know, you got to consider how strong the gusts of wind were from each impact. That from 20 miles away or 30 miles away, it was almost blowing our trees down. So as that's happening, we decide we need to go inside the house. What the fuck is going on? Like, we're going to get blown away. We go inside the house and we're looking outside of Alexis's window in her room because she has a big window in there, and you could see the sky above us. And there's another constellation, and it's actually the constellation of the Summer's Triangle. Look it up. It's a real thing. This constellation, we all saw it, just decided to fucking move. Like it literally was observing us, which is weird. And I can't even almost like they left in order in a line, almost like, oh shit, they noticed us and they're like, let's get out of here. So for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, I need to go outside and investigate this. It's whatever. I figured we're all gonna die anyways. Might as well see who's gonna kill me, because that's how dramatic the situation was. If you were there, you would have assumed it's a revelation. The shit's going down. That it's the end. So I go outside, and I remember everyone was like, "What the fuck? Don't do it! Don't do it!" And I was like, "It's whatever, dude." We go outside, and I look at our neighbor. So let's say it's like this, and I look this way, and I'm looking for any sign of movement in the skies or anything, because they just kind of bounced out, right? And I hear our neighbors are outside with their dogs, and it sounds like a man, and it sounds like he had like 5 to 6 dogs outside in his yard or something like that. And you can hear him yelling at something, and his dogs are barking at something. He starts to scream out loud, like, what the fuck? And like says, I don't know what he's saying particularly, but he starts screaming and cussing out loud, almost as if like something was approaching him. You can hear the dogs. They start barking and growling like really aggressively. And like I'm saying, there's a lot of them, and these are large dogs because you can hear the bark. Well, he shoots his shotgun, and in the middle of the shotgun blast, like the noise, as it's literally echoing, it gets absorbed like into the silence. The dogs, the dude yelling, and the shotgun sound all muted, like somebody pressed a fucking mute button on them. And you can hear this and silence. Almost like the sound got absorbed into like a black hole or something. So at this point, I'm like, fuck that. I go inside. Wait inside for about another 10 minutes while this other shit is going on in the background on the mountain. This is all happening simultaneously, by the way. So we take our focus back to the mountain, and we're trying to get a video of it, but you gotta realize, 3 years ago, at night, 20 to 30 miles away, that mountain is far. So what the footage that we do have, it's just poor quality, man. It is. But we did get some footage. After like 10 to 15 minutes, we decided it's safe to go outside. I don't know why, but we just decided like we need to investigate some more. So we go outside, and as we're outside, the way our side door was, it was very open, and it led into the street. So you can see who's driving on the street and everything. And there was this is where we get to the Men in Black. And there was this black SUV that was driving with its headlights off very slowly around the block. It seen a vehicle. It was a all black vehicle, black rims, black everything. There was no identifiable license plate on it. It was an unmarked vehicle. And when we saw it, we knew immediately who the fuck that was. Fucking Will Smith and friends. You don't think we don't know you? So we went inside. And the interesting thing about Joshua Tree at night is that it's absolute silence of the lambs. There is no noise whatsoever. And this vehicle was circling around the block. I'm telling you, this is not a large neighborhood. It's very small. Looking for something for about an hour straight. At some point, because we can see everything from our freaking windows. I'm sure they were watching us, literally watch them like idiots. And at some point, after an hour of driving around like the fucking 3 streets they could drive around, they parked in front of like not in front of our house directly, but like close to the front, because we can hear them, the car idling the whole time. It sounded like there was a small stream running through the front yard. It wasn't. It was their car idling. Like I'm saying, Joshua Tree is quiet at night, and you can hear everything. So we're like freaking out in the house, trying to place protection wards all over the windows and the walls and stuff like that, so nothing spiritually could come into the house. But we were just like trying to figure out what to do, because honestly, with the things that we had seen, and with having the SUV out front like that, it was a little nerve-wracking, you know. By this time, it's like 4 in the morning, by the way, literally. And we decided to call it a night. We were ready for the end of the world. So we were like, when we wake up in the morning, we're going to drive to the closest department store. And I'm sure everybody will be raiding it by then. Like, this is what we were thinking because of the events that we had seen. Real life events that happened in person. So we go in town and we start to like question people, like, did you see what happened last night? And man, I've never been so gaslit in my life. These people would be like, as you ask them, did you see what happened last night? They'd be like, oh yeah, elementary school was great last year. I'm glad that I graduated, type shit. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything that I said? Doesn't even make sense what you're saying. And everybody gave that kind of answer, which was fucking interesting. Led all of us to believe that these people are fucking being paid to have amnesia about the shit that's happening in the city around them every night. Because we stayed there for a couple more nights and weird shit proceeded to happen every night. I think this is actually something more spiritual than what we perceive it to be, a UFO or an alien thing. If you look into the stories of the people who are from this land, they speak of these things. This is a known thing. So it's very interesting to be able to see that in real life. It was really crazy. It felt like I was in an anime. You know what I'm saying?